Under the canopy of a moonless night, our campfire's flickering flames seem feeble against the encroaching darkness. Fear and curiosity mingled in our hearts as the survivor began recounting his chilling encounter with the infamous Death Knight of legend, an undead paladin clad in armor, stained by the blood of countless battles. The Death Knight's malevolent aura permeated the air. His eyes, two sinister embers, glow with the hunger for destruction as he swung a wicked blade with uncanny precision. The mere sight of him struck terror into the hearts of brave warriors, rendering them immobile before the onslaught of his unholy powers. With a heavy heart, the survivors spoke of a fallen comrade who had dared to challenge the Death Knight's might. Their valiant efforts met with cruel and swift retribution. The memory of the sacrifice haunted him still, as he detailed his own harrowing escape. Our collected breaths caught in our throats. He had narrowly cheated death, fleeing the Death Knight's haunting laughter, echoing in his ears. In that moment, we knew the Death Knight was no mere fable. It was an ominous reality, a malevolent force that haunted the realm, leaving devastation in its wake. What made it even worse were its features. Why the fuck am I still whispering? The Death Knight is proficient in the following saving throws: Dexterity with a +6, Wisdom with a +9, Charisma with a +10. Monstrous saves for a mighty creature of legend, of course. This monster gets even more powerful when you take into account its damage immunities. It is immune to necrotic and poison damage. Take into account that you can always equip the Death Knight with better gear and add more immunities or resistances if need be. It is immune to the following conditions: exhaustion, frightened, and poisoned, making it relentless in its pursuit, and no need to rest or the ability to fear. Once you're its target, you better hope you can hide well or fight well. Its senses are a dark vision of 120 feet, and the passive perception of 13. Not the most perceptive on deck, but you might be able to see through. It knows the following languages: Abyssal and Common. It should also know the languages in you in life, but that's up to your discretion. Its first feature is magic resistant. The Death Knight has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. In other words, the Death Knight doesn't give a fuck about your spells. It scoffs at your pretty magics, moving through them like an unmovable boulder, undeterred and unyielding. Its second feature is martial undead. Unless the Death Knight is incapacitated, it and undead creatures of his choice within 6 feet of it have advantage on saving throws against features that turn undead. A commander in life and now in undeath, the Death Knight's presence bolsters his undead comrades. They stand firm, unshaken by the powers that seek to turn them a true leader. It ensures its warriors do not flee. What if they do? They shall delete their OnlyFans subscription to Belle Delphine, whether in life or in the accursed state of undeath. Lastly, we have spellcasting. The Death Knight's mastery of dark magic is awe-inspiring as it is terrifying. With the prowess of a 19th level spellcaster, it wields charisma as his spellcasting ability. Its dark energy commands spells with a spell save DC of 18. Beware his dark arsenal of spells. The Death Knight has the following paladin spells prepared. Command. This spell allows the Death Knight to exert control over lesser foes, compelling them to obey single-word commands, whether it be flee to disorient enemies or grovel to immobilize them. The Death Knight can turn the tide of battle by manipulating its adversaries. He also has Compel Duel. With this spell, the Death Knight singles out a worthy opponent, forcing them into a duel. This one-on-one confrontation ensures the Death Knight's formidable combat abilities are directed towards a significant threat, making it harder for others to interfere with the clash. And the last of the first level spells is Searing Smite. As the Death Knight's cursed blade strikes its target, this spell engulfs the victim in searing flames. Not only does it deal additional damage, but the target also suffers from persistent burning sensations, making it easier for the Death Knight to overpower and weaken its foes. For second level spells, we have Hold Person. This potent spell allows the Death Knight to immobilize his enemies, rendering paralyzed and vulnerable to subsequent attacks. By incapacitating key adversaries, the Death Knight gains a significant advantage on the battlefield, ensuring its strikes are more effective and its opponents less capable of resistance. We then have Magic Weapon. When facing formidable foes or those with resistances to non-magical weapons, the Death Knight calls upon this spell to imbue its weapon with magical property. This enchantment enhances the blade's effectiveness, allowing the Death Knight to bypass resistances and deal more substantial damage. Unless you already give him a magical weapon, then this spell's kind of, fucking useless, but you know. For a third level spell, we have the spell Magic. Versatility is key in the Death Knight's combat repertoire. With this spell, it can counter enemy spells or dispel magical effects, neutralizing potential threats or disrupting the plans of spellcasters who dare to challenge it. Basically, it's a big fuck you if you're a caster. Not as good as counterspell, but still fucking effective. We then have Elemental Weapon. Infusing its weapon with elemental power, the Death Knight becomes an even deadlier force on the battlefield. Whether it's flames, lightning, or cold, this spell adds elemental damage to its strikes, allowing the Death Knight to exploit its enemies' weaknesses. I wish it did more, but it's decent enough, especially if you have a magic weapon already. Unless the spell states that you can't use it on magic weapons, then it's trash. But hit, you can always just fucking ignore that part and modify it to your liking. Fourth level spells, we have Banishment. The Death Knight wields the power to banish enemies to other planes of existences temporarily. This spell enables it to remove dangerous opponents from the battlefield, providing a momentary respite or a tactical advantage during a critical encounter. Basically, be gone, fuck! Really gives them a good moment of respite. You can also target the Barbarian with this. Hint, hint, it's gonna work about 80% of the time, unless they roll like God. Does it make you dick? Absolutely. But let's be honest, you wanted to do it. You'll get over it. Or he'll get over it. But you know what might make you feel better? The next spell, Zagrant's Might. When the Death Knight's blade connects with its target, this spell delivers a potent shockwave that disorients and incapacitates its foe. The momentary stagger allows Death Knight to press on its advantage, overwhelming its opponents with relentless strikes. If the first attack hits, I just want you to know that you might want to be praying to all the gods you believe in, because he'll have advantage and the next two attacks are going to hit even harder, unless, you know, he really has bad luck. Put that frown upside down, because surviving that means you still have to deal with the 5th level spell slots, that being Destruction Wave. Depending on his deadly spell casting, the Death Knight unleashes a wave of necrotic energy that devastates everything in the vicinity. This spell inflicts massive damage and leaves the area corrupted, serving as an ultimate display of its mastery over darkness and death. Each spell strategically enhances its abilities, enabling it to strike with precision, dominate the battlefield, and secure its reign of terror across the realm of Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, he cheats as much as he fucking can. Also, really just give him haste. Whenever you get a chance, just give him haste. Great spell to give it though. Or something like that. You could also give him an artifact that is capable of casting Tensor's Transformation, and just watch the sparks fly. And by sparks I mean heads. Now that we cover spells, let's cover its combat actions. For its combat actions, the Death Knight is a whirlwind of deadly precision in combat, making not 1 or 2, but 3 brutal longsword attacks with its multi-attack feature. Its skills with the blade are unparalleled, instilling fear in the hearts of those who dare to face it. Its first attack is with a longsword, a melee weapon attack capable of dealing 9 or 1d8 plus 5 slashing damage, and while two-handed it deals 10 or 1d10 plus 5 slashing damage, plus 18 or 4d8 necrotic damage. Armed with a wicked longsword, the Death Knight strikes with deadly accuracy. Each swing of its blade can carve through armor, dealing both slashing and necrotic damage, a reflection of the darkness that courses through its very being. To paint it lightly, it just means that he deals a crap ton of damage. Again, 3 attacks, the potential is very high. We then have Hellfire Orb. Once a day, the Death Knight hurls a magical ball of fire that explodes on a point it can see within 120 feet of it. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on the point must make a DC 18 dexterity saving throw. This sphere spreads around corners. Each creature takes 35 or 10d6 fire damage and 35 or 10d6 necrotic damage on a failed save. Oh, that's a lot of damage! Plus much damage on a successful one. Trembling in fear when the Death Knight calls upon his devastating Hellfire Orb. With his malevolent grin, it hurls a magical ball of fire that seeks out its prey, leaving a blazing path of destruction. If you can withstand the inferno, and even if you escape the clutches of the necrotic flames that accompany the blast. Lastly, Death Knight has a reaction, its parry move. The Death Knight adds a 6 to its AC against 1 melee attack that would hit it. To do so, the Death Knight must be able to see the attacker and be wielding a melee weapon. As if its martial prowess weren't enough, the Death Knight is swift to react to incoming melee attacks. With an otherworldly grace, it enhances its armor class against 1 melee strike, shrugging off blows that would find purchase against lesser foes. Witnessing this unnerving display, one can help but feel a sense of impending doom, for to challenge the Death Knight is to invite the dread embrace of its deadly retaliation. Now that we talked about its features, let's talk settings. Here are 3 settings that could work for your world. For our first setting, we have Arandoril, the Shattered Realms. Long ago, the peaceful realm of Arandoro fell into darkness when a malevolent Death Knight, Solnara, rose to power. With an army of undead at her command, she shattered the once unified lands into separate realms, plunging the world into chaos and despair. Now brave adventurers must unite the fractured realms, face the horrors unleashed by Solnara, and reclaim the shards of powerful artifacts to banish her darkness forever. For our first plot hook, we have the Lost Heirloom. An elven noble seeks a group of adventurers to recover a precious family heirloom, a relic capable of countering Solnara's dark magic, stolen by a treacherous thief rumored to be hiding in one of the Shattered Realms. For a second plot hook, we have the Seer's Prophecy. A wise seer foretells of destined heroes who can wield the power of the Shattered Artifact. Various factions vie for control of the heroes, seeking to use them for their own agendas. For a unique element, the Shattered Realms are connected by ancient portals, each guarded by powerful magical creatures or trials that must be overcome to access new realms. For a twist, as the heroes confront Solnara, they learn of her tragic past and the manipulations of a sinister force that drove her to darkness. The players have the choice to offer her redemption or condemn her to oblivion, altering the fate of Arandoril forever. For a second setting, we have Noldorian. The Feywild expands. In the ethereal realm of Noldorian, the radiant kingdom of Veloria once flourished under the guidance of an enigmatic elven queen, but her pursuit for immortality led her down a dark path, transforming her into a vengeful Death Knight. The Feywild expanse now trembles under her malevolence, and the once vibrant realm begins to wither. Heroes must navigate the Feywild's mystical wonders and confront Veloria's bitter rage to restore balance to the realm. For first plot hook, we have the Enchanted Grove. An ancient grove of mystical flora holds the key to breaking Veloria's curse. The heroes must seek its location while evading the whimsical yet dangerous fey creatures that dwell within. For a second plot hook, we have the Eternal Twilight. The balance between the silly and unsilly chords is shattered, threatening to plunge Noldorian into eternal twilight. Heroes must negotiate with a powerful and capricious Fey Lord in order to restore harmony before the realm is consumed by the Death Knight. For a unique element, the passage of time in the Feywild differs from the material plane, and the heroes may return to Noldorian after what seems like days, only to find centuries have passed. And for a twist, we have Betrayal. As the heroes delve into Veloria's tragic past, they uncover a long-forgotten betrayal by one of their trusted allies. This revelation shakes the party's trust in each other, and they must grapple with the consequences of deception amidst the chaos of the Feywilds. Now for a third setting, we have Drak Morin, the Ember Waste. Drak Morin, a scorched and desolate wasteland, is plagued by the presence of Zarathos, a once noble gold dragonborn knight who succumbed to the malevolent curse, transforming him into a Death Knight that hunts the realm. With each passing day, his power grows, threatening to consume the land in eternal flames. Heroes must navigate treacherous wastelands, gather ancient relics, and face Zarathos in a climactic battle to save Drak Morin from being engulfed by infernal chaos. For our first plot hook, we have the Ember Heart's Relic. A sacred trio of artifacts said to hold the key to breaking Zarathos' curse lies hidden in the Ember Waste. The heroes must locate these powerful relics before they fall into the hands of cultists seeking to unleash Zarathos' power. For our second plot hook, we have the Curse Oasis. A mythical oasis said to harbor the secret of Zarathos' curse attracts desperate pilgrims wanting to risk their lives for a chance of redemption. The heroes must navigate treacherous paths and confront the spirits guarding the oasis. For unique element, Drak Morin is a realm deeply tied to elemental energies. The heroes can harness these forces to imbue their weapons and abilities with elemental power. But beware, for Zarathos and his minions can do the same as well. What a twist, we have pure evil. As the heroes confront Zarathos, they discover the malevolent curse did not defeat Zarathos. Zarathos chose this path willingly, and his soul has been fully corrupted by the curse. There is no redemption for the fallen knight. They must face the difficult choice of whether vanquishing the soul or find a way to imprison it forever, lest it be unleashed upon the world once more. That's all we have for settings, so let's talk about unique features. I created 3 unique features to enhance the Death Knight's already powerful repertoire. For our first feature, we're going to talk about Death's Embrace. The Death Knight taps into the very essence of undeath, transforming the dread into a tangible force. As a bonus action, the Death Knight can activate Death's Embrace for 1 minute. During this time, any creature starts its turn within 30 feet of the Death Knight must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw or take 3d8 necrotic damage. Additionally, any necrotic damage dealt by the Death Knight's Death Embrace is converted into temporary hit points for the Death Knight instead. Undead within the area of effect are also healed the amount as well. Death Embrace is a potent ability that reinforces the Death Knight's mastery over necrotic energies. The aura of undeath it exudes becomes a deadly deterrent to foes, punishing them for daring to draw near. Furthermore, converting necrotic damage into temporary hit points grants Death Knight enhanced survivability, allowing it to sustain its onslaught even against numerous adversaries. For a second feature, we have Undying Fortitude. Once per long rest, when the Death Knight is reduced to 0 hit points, it can rise once more. Fueled by undeath and unyielding power, the Death Knight is immediately restored to half his hit points, and for the next minute, it gains resistance to all damage except Radiant. Now that may be a little bit extreme. If it's a very high level campaign, do that. If not, just raise it to maybe half his hit points or a little bit lower if that fits your build. Additionally, during this time, the Death Knight is immune to any effect that will turn undead or force it to move against its will. And lastly, we have Death's Call. As an action, Death Knight emits a bone-chilling, otherworldly scream that pierces the souls of its enemies. All creatures within 30-foot cone must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 5d10 psychic or necrotic damage, and that is stunned for 1 minute. On a successful save, the target takes half damage and isn't stunned. The target repeats the saving throw at the end of their turns to remove the stun condition. Death's Call gives the Death Knight a potent area of effectability, causing terror and havoc among its foes. The ability to stun multiple enemies within range provides a crowd control potential, and substantial psychic damage is sure to leave the players wary of facing the Death Knight head-on. This new ability adds depth to the Death Knight's arsenal and makes it a more formidable adversary encounter. In encounters with groups of adventurers. That's all for today's video. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next drop. If you enjoyed this content, check out our other stuff. Also, tell me about your favorite encounter with the Death Knight in the comment section below. You still here? Why aren't you gone yet? Go on, shoot.